Yeah, okay. Dennis will be coming in just a little bit, but we've got a lot to go over. And let's see, the first on the thing was Christy Nix was supposed to be here to talk to us about her problem with dogs being on the loose or whatever, but she's not here. So I guess we'll go on to the next item. The next item is adoption of an ordinance entitled Park Use Ordinance. This is the one Nicole and our lawyer at the end of the table worked on, and I read it. It looks very thorough, but that's the finished product. I think y'all got a copy of it.
Was this what we talked about last month?
Yes, it was introduced last month.
It's all the parks, but we had a little problem with the West Side Park, so we're going to make this apply to all the parks. But it pretty well covers everything I think that could come up. So we'll have that Monday night to be approved. I gave you a copy though where you can look at it, make sure you understood everything in it.
Okay, before you go on, let's go on the parks thing on C right there. Says pets must be on leash at all times. Now out at the baseball field, there's signs saying no pets allowed.
Okay.
And I think that's, especially at the ball field, that's the way it should be.
Well,
I think
if you have a
because we had several this past ball season that come in there with bulldogs, and I told Will about it, and he said, "You got authority to tell them to get out of there with that dog."
Well, we can change it to pet, no pets.
No pets.
Okay.
I think it's safe because somebody gets bit.
Yeah, I know.
See, by me, somebody gonna have a dead dog.
So this says parks, is it like that park?
All the parks.
Because people walk their dogs over this park. I mean, not the park, but the walking.
Oh, that's the walking trail.
They can walk there.
So which parks is this?
You're talking about the west side, your park, the east side park, what do we call it? Complex.
Yeah,
Recreational complex.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to be specific, which parks or whatever. You're gonna have to name them, like no pets allowed at the baseball parks, west side park, whatever, however you wanna word it, because like she said, they do walk them on the walking trail.
I think you just close it off to the recreational fields over there.
Walking trail is fine. I think because they are on a leash, they just not,
Right.
There's that provision that they're prohibited with signs prohibit pets.
Yeah.
Okay, we can
Oh,
back
she
up.
just made it, Miss Nix.
Let's back up. Ms. Christy Nix is approaching as we speak. She's a little bit late here. Christy, you want to
So we'll
tell
just
us
make
what you
that-
need? You want to address the council?
Oh, no, I don't want to something down.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just so you don't miss a lot.
I thought you wanted to.
I do, but I'm not prepared today.
Oh, okay. All right then. All right. All right, we talked about the park use. Okay, the next item we got is the parking lot quotes at the CAC building. Okay, we put in the budget that we were going to redo the front part of the CAC parking lot because it's in terrible shape. We've had people that got hurt there because of it, and y'all approved $50,000. Well, that was my guessing at $50,000. Well, when I had the estimates done again, the new estimates, we had it done about 2 years ago. Well, things have changed a little bit as it does, but I've got two estimates, one from James R. Martin Building and Remodeling for $68,050 and one for Dale's Paving for $62,000. So, I guess I talked to Mike about it. We guess we're going to try the 62,000 if that's okay with y'all.
Well, they've got different square feet. Like one's 8,000 square feet, and one's 11,000 square feet. So I wonder.
No, it's 11,000. Yeah.
Oh, I see the two. Okay, I see the addition.
Yeah.
It's just about.
They're the same because I made sure that they painted exactly where it was going to be, where both of them could be bidding the exact same thing. So
This one we'll talk about this James Martin talked about striping and all that.
no, we didn't talk about striping. We didn't talk about it.
Dale says it just shows.
He just added that itself.
Police department.
But he's the lowest bid anyway.
It looks like he's gonna ground the existing up and lay it back down.
He said he had a new process to do that. That may be why he's a little cheaper than the other.
He's gonna put new drains in.
Yeah.
Catch basin.
That'll be up Monday night for us to vote on that, and I'll suggest that we go with the cheaper fee. Next is the big item we have, is the ordinance raising water rates. And in your packet, did you run this water analysis?
They all have a copy of it.
Okay, that, in there you'll find that the Louisiana Rural Water Association water rate analysis, where they showed us how far we're off on being sustainable. And if the key number is 1.15, and this is, if we do what it says here, our sustainability factor will be 1.11, which is very close to 1.15. If we don't get the sustainability factor up, we're not going to be able to borrow money. We're not going to be able to do anything, because they're not going to loan you money if you're not able to pay it back. And this water system is going in the hole big time. So we're going to have to raise the rates.
Well, Mayor, I agree with you there that we're going to have to do something, but I would like to ask that before we make any kind of vote on the ordinance to increase it by 2%, that we look at all of the numbers, including, I'd like to see a spreadsheet with all the base fees on it or something to that effect. It shows that you've got apartments.
All the base fees?
No, you've got apartments over there with one base meter on it, and you got 100 apartments. Each one of those, that's what this guy told us that night, was that we can charge a base fee for each one of them. So that's money that the city is. And so I want to see that before I say, yeah, I want to raise it, because I want to be able to go back and say, okay, we've done everything we can to bring this thing to line. And, so what I've got is, you know, which apartments have a single base rate, and I think that Kellogg has a single base rate, but they have 100 apartments over there.
Do they? How's that?
Camelot Lot's got 1 meter.
1 meter.
That covers the whole complex, and we need that 1 meter.
Yeah.
Go off of that.
If that's done that way, the apartments across the way are done that way. Any of these other apartments we need to look at.
But so you're saying how would you make it different? You're saying what?
Well, you need to charge each one of those units.
Charging
for each
what?
one of those units that base rate for water usage, because what you do.
It's not set up that way.
I know it's not set up that way, but that was one of the things that in his talk that night, he talked about us looking at those base rates on all of those, because they're occupied housing units. And so we need to look at that. I mean, it's easy to go back in and do a 2% increase, but we need to have the numbers in front of us. I know this tells us one story, but I'd like to see where we're losing money, which I know we're losing money on the water, but we're losing money. You got 100 of them over there, it's $20 for that base rate. I don't have it in front of me here, but I know it's his.
This is a government deal.
Derek, how could you charge that way?
Because what you do is you set up, you know how many buildings you have, how many units you have on there, you just simply leave that 1 meter on there, and you charge for those buildings.
What do you do with the water going through the meter? Who
Well,
pays for that?
You're still gonna pay the same on the gallons, but you're not charging an extra on, you're adding the base rate, but you still got the same amount of water going through there. In other words, the gallons that are over, you have to do some calculations and see what it would come out.
It'd have to be a separate meter, wouldn't it?
Well, hang on.
Each person.
So you're going to charge, say there's 20 units, you're going to charge each one of those units a base rate.
Well,
Right?
That's a thought, yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to charge each unit a base rate,
Right.
and then the apartment complex is going to pay the water usage on the meter.
Over, yes.
So Camelot pays the bill.
Yeah.
Individuals
But
don't
that's
pay the
what they-
bill.
What I'm saying is, they're only paying for that one base rate. And then they're paying for the gallons over that. Well, what's that one base rate? Shelley, you're gonna have to help me on this one.
Well, on that back page of that water rate analysis sheet, this is the scenario that got us to the 1.11. And you can see here's our residential. That's the far column right here in the yellow. There's the residential at the top. They were talking about, and we're going up from 23.46, which I got y'all the rate charts, what they are today. That was revised back in February when we raised the garbage rate, and we were at 0 to 2,000 at 23.46 for the water. With the new one that they suggested from Louisiana Rural Water, it's 0 to 1,000 gallons, and it goes to 28.96 on residential.
And then 750 for gallons over that.
Yeah, 750 for each
So
additional.
still charge-
But we also changed the commercial and all of them to do this. So I don't know. You have to get Louisiana Rural Water to come back. So
Did they say legally you can charge each individual a base rate?
I don't know.
That's what it said.
Yeah, it said that,
Yeah.
You'd have to talk to Ken Terry.
because we figured out that night how many apartment, I mean,
Yeah,
it
so I called
was
Mr. Mackey.
almost 100, wasn't
I think I
it?
called Sylvia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 100 plus because I had called Sylvia. Colby, because she's managed.
Some of that cost, I mean, is it right? And I had 3 units on my lots, okay, just as an example. And then I still have that 1 meter that's running the house, but then I'm running water off of that to every one of these other houses. So those people that are living there now aren't paying any kind of base rate. Now, granted, they're government subsidized apartments, but you still have a house. I would call this guy that did this and ask him about that and make sure. That's kind of what I want to know is where
That'd be a lot of money.
yeah, it's a lot of
They've
money.
been
Camelot's,
for years.
Camelot's got how many?
100 plus,
You got
112, 114.
You got these over here. You got Harrington Drive.
And you got the
Sherwood.
Yeah.
And Rosebud, that's the thing,
Rosebud's got individual meters.
Right, they pay the water
So
bill.
those people are all paid individually.
Yes.
But that's also paid through one company.
I don't know how.
No, Rosebud,
They individually
they
pay.
individually
Yeah,
pay their bills. Like the Springhill senior housing does not pay their bill.
But I mean, I agree, we've got to do something about it because we've got to be in compliance, but let's look at all the variables. And that's one of the things I said at that meeting is we have to look at those variables so that we're not just going in and putting a 2% increase from everybody.
Well, I don't think it's just a 2% because what he also talked about that night was we need to put into play, because I talked to David Riles this morning, to make sure I understood some of this right. And he too suggested that when we do the new ordinance, that you do it on the consumer price index. So you're looking at it each year, it's already built into the ordinance to go up if the consumer price goes up. And then if it stays the same, you don't have to go up, you can just leave it alone.
But, and I agree with that. But where I'm coming from is I think we're losing money by one.
Okay. All right.
Well,
Well,
That's a lot of dollars.
So we're not gonna be able to do this Monday night.
we can introduce the ordinance.
You're gonna
This
introduce,
has got to be done within 30 days.
but I have to advertise it in the paper that it's being introduced, because the public
If
has
we
the
keep
right to
dragging this
comment.
out, trying to do this, and do that, and do this, we're going to continue to do what we've done in the past, and still go in the hole.
I think we could vote easily on this, but I'll just.
Well, and this too, well, you can't vote on it. What you're gonna have to do is introduce the ordinance, and then you can't adopt it until the next. It's a 2-month process, and it's a 2-month process, because I have to introduce it 1 month, and then we adopt it the next.
This ordinance, and we don't entertain those ideas about the individual units, then are we stuck there when it comes time to vote, or can we?
Until it's spelled out in black and white, all you're doing Monday night would be introducing the ordinance.
Well, then
You raise the rates.
I think that would be a wise choice.
Are you saying the ordinance has to be printed in the paper so many days
The
before we
notice of
vote on it?
introduction has to be printed in the paper that y'all are considering raising the
Right.
water rates. It has to be done before the next council meeting so that the public has the right to be here to comment on it if they choose to do so.
But the changes he's trying to make, we can make them from one to before
And if
August.
you wanted to call, like, we could have a special call meeting or even just have another workshop and have the Louisiana Rural Water people come back.
That's what I'd like to do.
But this too,
We need to
while you're
introduce it
looking,
tomorrow.
you may want to look at these, the rate charts.
Yeah.
The one that says revised February the 13th of 23 is the current one in place today. This is the one I had Joanne figure this morning that doesn't have a date on it yet because we haven't accepted it. But I also realized too, we were only going to raise the water rates. It does not include a sewer rate increase in this because as we discovered the last two rate studies, the sewer carries the water.
Right.
Or it has been.
Right, and I don't have an issue, introducing it. I just want to make sure we have all our T's crossed and our I's dotted before we.
And then I also-
We're gonna charge this amount of money.
I gave y'all a copy of the ordinance the last time the water rates was raised back in February of 21, which spells it all out.
And especially with the increases that we're catching right now on our water anyway. And, if we were the only town that had issues, then that would be different, but we still need to make sure we approach this from the right way.
Okay.
Well, I agree with you, introduce it on Monday.
We'll introduce it Monday and then we'll work on any changes between now and the next month. Next item, we're gonna have, did anybody else have any comments about the water?
You also got a copy of the water we drink report in there because I've had several people request this. And I also included a copy of the water quality grade. I did everything I could think of on the water today.
It's all right. And Mayor, it's all right. I'll turn these to something we can post on our Facebook page so that they can look at it too.
Speaking
Fine.
of the water quality deal, if you notice on there, I don't know if she handed it out. We're graded as C, but it's not because of the water that we are giving the people why we're graded as C. The quality of the water is good. We're fine.
It's because of the debt we owe.
Because of the debt and the finances.
Right. And,
Complaints.
the only thing that it showed was it had a little
This
bit
is one of mine,
blue.
Was it in this package?
And the complaints.
But this is also on the city's website, our government website.
And not everybody goes there, but we're gonna, I'll do something.
And I did publish it in the paper also.
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do, Shelley, is I'll just make a link to the city website from there, and then, yeah,
And I had quite a few pick them up this time.
that's good.
Okay, you through?
Yeah.
Okay, next item, discuss an alcohol license for Interpol, Walia, located at 1800 South Arkansas. That'll come up Monday night.
That's Matt Case's building.
Uh-huh.
That's more taxes. And we can get that budget straight.
There you
We
go.
have some supplemental money, all
There
this
you go.
business is coming up.
That's right. Okay.
What did Matt
Didn't
want
we give Mac
license?
a license?
He wanted a license, we
Like
issued
he
him
was gonna
one.
open it and then now it's
We
this.
made,
I don't know.
Not much, but
Okay, the next item, I just wanted y'all to have in your packet, this is the, telling what Wayne McMahon accomplished for us in Baton Rouge. This, first page is the, HB number 560, House Bill number 560.
Okay.
And down at the bottom of it, you'll see where we got, this is cash money. This is money that we will be getting, right away. And this is for $100,000 for the Springhill Recreational Complex. On the next page, we got $50,000 for the Springhill Fire Department roof repair. That's money that we'll get right away. And on the next page, I don't know why they busted it up like this, broke it up like this, but on the next page is another $250,000 for the Springhill recreational complex. So that's a total of $350 for that, which will hopefully finish that project. On the next page is House Bill number 2. This is the capital outlay. This is where they're going to give you this money at a later date, not right now. The definition, the guy that helps us with this in Baton Rouge sent us this definition of a priority 5. These items, 1.2 million for the wastewater and 5.7 million for the water system phase 3 is in priority 5. And priority 5, you can think of priority 5 as sort of like showing legislative intent regarding future year funding. And in other words, we've had a history around here. Priority 5 is taking 5 years, 10 years, whatever, to actually get the money. Because you have to depend on the legislators that are down there working for you to move that up in priorities. Well, Wayne says he does not have any problem. They have told him that yes, it says priority 5, but when we need this money, it will be moved up to priority 1. Now, this is James Pepera who helps us with this. I went over it with him and I said, so we can't get any more money this year. No, not 23. I said, but can we in 24? He said, yes. If the legislators move this up from 5 to 1, yes, you can.
So we get it in 2023?
24.
Oh, we got with 24.
But see, like on the wastewater, see, we're going to get the 1.2 million right away from them. Well, we have set aside that ARPA money. We've set that aside. We'll use that next. And then the last money will be this.
Okay.
So, and it'll take us that long to get this done for sure. And it's the same thing with the water system. So I'm just relying on Wayne to do what he said he would do. So, but I just wanted y'all to be fully aware of how this thing works. Okay. The next item, Mike Dunaway is going to give us a progress report on various projects we got going on right now, and we've had overages in each one of them, but y'all need to know why we had the overages and how much it's going to be.
First one is the 8th Street, 7th Street sewer rehab we're doing over there. We ran into a situation where there's too much groundwater in the ground to be able to dig. We got to put a lift station in at 17 foot deep in order to handle everything. And the ground is so wet, you can't dig it. We dug the deep foot gets about 8 foot, and it couldn't get no further. And we had to do a process called well pointing, and that's an additional $25,000. And they put all this equipment in the ground. What it does, it sucks all the water out of the work area within a certain radius, so they can do the work they need to do on hand. Y'all approved the $165,000 when we started it. This is an additional $25,000 to do this process. We've been doing it for 2 weeks, and it's still not real dry. They're still working on it, and it don't like to get any drier because of the rain. But that's just part of stuff you run into, stuff that you don't know about.
So the bid on that was what?
Around 165.
And so this will mean 25 more than we told them.
About 190 total.
It was an emergency.
Yes, it was an emergency. The sewer line was.
If it's an emergency, we can go into. If it's under 250,000, we can go ahead and do it. But still, I wanted y'all to be aware of what's going on. Okay, go ahead.
The next one was this drainage project over here on 3rd Street, right there behind Piggly Wiggly. We had talked to Tim, and me and Tim, from what we could see above ground, got together what we needed to do. Tim gave us a price.
The road caved in. That's what started off.
Yeah, the road
Had to do something.
culvert messed up. The original price Tim gave us was $27,680. Well, when we got in the middle of it, it grew. Instead of replacing one big culvert, we had to replace 2 big culverts. And we're replacing 48-inch culverts, so you're not talking about a little bitty footprint. And Tim's price went up to $54,583 by the time we got through. And it was because we got a 48 by 20 foot culvert, which calls for extra rock in it, extra cement, an extra concrete box over it, diaper put around it, and bigger area of asphalt and rock had to be taken care of. So it was an additional,
Basically, the job is done.
yes, yeah, an additional 26,000. Yeah, double the size because, I mean.
No way he could have known all that.
No, you don't know until you uncover it. You don't know what's underground. And I'm not going to partially fix something when I'm already there. But I see the problem, go ahead and fix it and be done with it. So we don't have to come back and do it again. So that one increased.
That's an emergency.
Yes, that was under emergency deal. And while we're talking about emergencies, somebody called us about 2 weeks ago. A car almost fell in the road on 15th Street after by Warwick.
The street fell.
I went out there, and there was a hole as big as this table in the right lane going north. And another culvert was 8 and 2. And I got Tim up there, and we had to fix it, get it going, and repaired it, and we wound up replacing the culvert. And now that ain't but $12,000, but it was an unforeseen emergency that showed up that y'all hadn't been aware of, but I had to fix it. Kind of the same deal that you've seen over there.
Yeah.
Kind of just exactly like it, but bigger.
That is going to do it.
So we're fixing to fix that.
Okay.
We're waiting on locators.
We can do that.
That one's partial, and it's not near as deep. And just so y'all understand, I try to do as much of this on our own as I can, but we get into situations where I don't have the equipment nor the manpower to do these bigger jobs or bigger culverts and sewer lines.
Can't help it.
I can't help it. But that one showed up and we got it done, and you'll obviously see the bill in about $12,000 for that. But it's fixed, it's blacktop, we're back in normal operation. The one over there we can do that you told me about. Another sewer issue has shown up. It's over on Shelley Street, 10th Northeast. And
My neighbors will be knocking on my door.
what we have had happen is the people's yards have started caving in, and we just thought it was, just normal erosion. We went over there and got to looking and doing some investigating. Rural Water came, no, not Rural Water, excuse me. Had somebody come and TV the sewer line, and that whole line is shot. It's got roots coming in it, the pipe's busting, it's breaking, and we need to replace the whole line on that street and redo 5 manholes that are messed up. You got dirt, you got roots, you got water. And
One, Mr. Moody's house, on the corner, it ate a hole in his street, but then it kept on eating, and it's gone up halfway to his house. The hole has gone halfway to his house.
Normally we'll go put dirt in it one time,
It wouldn't do any good.
but when it keeps sucking in, well, there's a problem.
It's been 2 sinkholes at my mom's.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
her mama's had
Shelley's mama's house is done. We done went over and dug it up 2 or 3 times trying to fix it, and it's just beyond repair. It needs to be
And then there's
replaced.
some below me.
Yeah, there's several on that street. I got an estimated price about $245,000 to do it, and that's considered an emergency also because we're losing people's yards. It's collapsed, and we can get it under the bid thing, but it's. That's
Well, I'm thinking about on this one, we put that ARPA money aside, and we needed 1.2 or 3 of it, but we're going to have a little bit left over, and this would qualify to be used for that. So, I think we can do that and be all right.
I've gotten one quote. I'm in the process of getting another one.
When my lawnmower goes to the yard at my house,
Yeah, what's the
it's gonna be
same?
an emergency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yours the same situation, but
No street. But somebody could fall off in there.
Mike, you done with that paper?
what paper?
That paper you reading off of?
No, I got one more to go.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's a good thing though, right?
I didn't. Yeah, I'm almost done. It's a good thing. The next thing is some good news. It ain't gonna cost you no money yet. We got approval for the splash pad. We got all our environmental studies and all that stuff came back and all that good stuff. We're gonna go out for a pre-bid discussion on August the 8th, and then opening bids August the 17th to start the splash pad.
So that's a done deal.
I'm ready to
Nice
we'll celebrate.
I'm gonna be out there whooping.
Me too. How does it be? Me too. Me and my kids gonna be out there.
So I'm done, Cole.
Thank
That's all
you.
I got.
Thank you.
But that's kind of what we've got going on right now.
And we'll need to vote on some of those increases Monday night.
Yeah, you need to approve.
I have to approve them all because of the dollar.
Okay.
Here's the
Okay, the next
So
item
each one
is,
gonna be a line item on the agenda.
I'm gonna probably list them all under one line item, I think.
Okay.
the next item is public use of dumpsters. I sent y'all an email telling you about the problem that we've been having, and it's just gotten worse. And the Knights garbage folks have been super helpful trying to help us figure this out. They're dumping the dumpster at the Civic Center and the one at the RV park 3 times a week, trying to keep up, and they still can't keep up. The one in the CAC building, they dump twice a week, and they can't keep up with it either. And so it's just gotten out of hand. And I can't figure out a solution. But this is something Derek came up with this idea.
I gladly, and I
Which I
got on
think
talk yesterday, and I looked at it and man, talked for an hour. But I personally don't think we need to be in the public dumpster. And that's because we got people coming from every which way to dump at our dumpsters that our taxpayers here are paying for. We've got businesses using our dumpsters that need to not their own dumpsters.
We didn't make a copy, didn't make some more copies. He just gave me 3.
Okay, and then, what I come up with, I went ahead and I had a nice conversation with Leslie. We went down and looked at the deal, and we kind of pointed out where all the dumpsters were, and like the water,
The sewer plant.
plant over there, they've got, a dumpster, it's not public access, the police station has one, it's not public access, CAC building has one, right now it's public access, it needs to be cut off for public access, and I've got a picture of a sample of a fence that needs to go in, and Leslie and I talked about her driver having a key, and when they rent that building, attached to the key for the building is the dumpster, key.
Yeah, that'd work.
Yeah, cause they use that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what they're gonna do.
Well,
When that gate's locked,
Mm-hmm.
I see them, I know what they're gonna do.
Put a camera on
that's what we're gonna have to probably put a camera out.
You gotta put a camera.
And I also gave Ray some samples of some signs that would go out there now. Granted, people don't read, but
Stacy, did you see
I
that?
always read. I'm guilty of that myself.
Stacy, did you
But
see that?
we do probably, what I figure is we give them a couple months and see what's gonna happen. If they start setting stuff outside, then we put a camera out there. We've gotta do something to stop the terrific cost and, same with the Civic Center. These would be nice fences and our guys can actually do them. They're not real complicated, but, and I'm not gonna tell you the way I can do it. So it's anything that's complicated, I stay away from. The RV building is one that I really kind of have a concern about because we've got RVers there that can dump trash, so we got to figure out a way that they can get into that dumpster or either.
We went over there this afternoon.
Me and Ray looked at that today. We can do this, and then whenever they rent an RV spot, we can give them a key to the gate to the trash can.
Okay. And then they just make sure they properly.
Yeah.
It's not gonna.
Well, let me ask you this, could we do away with the 2 little ones over there and put one big one?
That's a Leslie question.
I mean, you got a small one behind the CAC, and how big is that one in the RV? A little bit bigger?
Pretty big.
Are those 6
Either
yards?
6 or 8.
And just put one big one out there for the whole kit and caboodle.
Well,
You gotta have the RV, you gotta have one near the RV for the.
Well, that's what I'm saying, put it at the RV, and that could hold the CAC too.
yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
And then, that, there's no, well, let me finish up. We have the recreation center the new recreation center, and Mike confirmed that
That was on the inside.
Mhm.
And the
How
city,
do you access that?
From K Street. From the other
It's
side.
gated.
This gate, it's got a
There's
gate
a
lock
code we
gate.
use on that
Yeah.
one.
yeah, and then the
They got a key to get in there when they got.
right, and that's what they'd have for these others. And then the city barn has a roll off that's inside the fence,
And we got a, what is it, Leslie? What's that small one?
6 yard.
5, 6 yard, whatever. We got a roll off and a little one. We got a big roll off and we got a little one.
You got two there?
Got one big roll off, yeah, and we got the little, like's out here, whatever's out here.
Like a dumpster?
Yeah.
Oh, well then that's the 8th one. We actually have 8.
Yeah, I'm showing 7 on the bills.
It's a, that's probably complimentary. Just like I think we give you a 40
No, I
yard.
saw 8 on there. It's okay.
You also get a 40 yard roll off. I think they only charge you for a 30.
And then we make sure we put signs on the outside. And I gave various examples of it. Just I went out and looked at what other places have, and this stuff is already made up, so it's not real hard to do. And if y'all didn't see Facebook pages lately, like Blake Erling Country Store, somebody came and dumped all their stuff. Well, he posted out there that this time you get a freebie, because they had stuff scattered, but he found the name of the person that actually dumped it. And so what I'm saying is we have ways to monitor this. So we may have to put the cameras out there, inexpensive wireless cameras. Or,
The key to it's going to be the police and
and
the
I wish-
tickets, because they are going to abuse it.
I
I
wish
would
Will
imagine.
was here now, but
I do too.
Is that considered littering? If that happens, that one?
yes, it is. And we just need to make sure they understand that, and we need to probably implement some kind of fine there that if they do. We may already have one in place. I haven't looked.
Look, like I said the other day, I think it was Philip Carroll's kid. I walked out back, and I mean, this dumpster is overflowing.
I think it's fine.
And I don't know where the people come from that was sitting, and I'm sitting in my truck watching it do it.
Yeah.
I've done it several times.
So your drivers.
And they're just throwing it on top of all these mattresses and everything else.
It
So that's
really
what I'm
just
thinking.
depends on the situation and the customer, you know.
Leslie, does the chains really help?
They just stack it on top.
But yeah, they just,
The gate helps.
Better?
But it's the notifying the public, put the signs up and notify
Yeah,
them.
and that's where.
Let them know this is, dump here. Once you put the sign up,
And one thing Leslie and I talked about is making sure that we have good communication before anything goes out that represents whatever's going to happen in the garbage area. They need to know before we put it out so that we can all be on the same page when somebody calls, so she doesn't get a surprise call or she doesn't get a surprise call. Right. So,
I check the RV park daily, and I can tell you, I can be up there between 10 and 11 o'clock every morning, and somebody is constantly pulling up to the dumpster.
Yeah.
And sometimes they've got trailers full of
right, and
stuff.
these are people coming from out of town or they're doing remodeling, and I understand they don't want to pay. We had to put chains on our dumpster, the thrift store, to keep people out and they still don't out there. So,
I've watched contractors pull up right here and unload trailers.
I did too the other day.
and so we don't need to be in the public thing, public dumpster business. But the option 3 I had on here was basically the same thing as option 2, which put the enclosures, the fee, and make sure we get everything. But this was suggested to me by some people in the community. Why don't we have, like, quarterly, maybe rent a 30 or 40 yard dumpster, put it back on that side by the civic center that's in between the school, and for 1 week they have, we have a sign posted out there, no batteries, no tires, and they dump, and they give them an opportunity to dump once a quarter to get rid of household items. And
We're
that's,
still paying for that though.
yeah, but you're not paying all these extra dumps that Leslie's having to do, because she has to pay Republic down there for the tonnage that goes in. She may give us the dumpster for little or nothing, but you still have to pay for that.
That's why
What's
I said,
gonna happen?
it would be feasible to go to a big dumpster over there and take the 2 little ones away.
Well, yeah, but you're going to cut back a lot of the tonnage when you put these in fences, and that's going to.
I think during the spring cleanup, you can put a dumpster out there before, one out there for.
Cameras out there. And
No.
it's just this. world we live in today. It's not anything.
A lot of people's mad because they call City Hall because the citizens of Webster Parish passed that years ago for that dump station at Sorrento for the people that live here to dump down there at no charge. I know it's not, but that's who they call. You know, they call City Hall.
I just hammered Bruce Blanton.
And well, I tell them the police jury, but you know, the police jury, Republic didn't want it when they bought the big land deal.
Right.
Well, like I say, these folks that I've seen, I know where they live, and they're outside the city limit.
Yep.
They're drawing Springhill water. They don't want to go to Sarepta and pay, so they come in here and dump everything in the freezer.
If they want to reap the benefits of being part of the city, then we need to look at awfully annexing them in, and that's going to take some other issues. But I think for us, we're going to have some education during that time. It's going to take a little time to get people to understand. The first couple that you hit, if we have a camera out there, the first couple you hit, and make sure that's known, it's going to stop real fast. And I don't mean that to be.
How much is the fine?
I don't know. That would be something that we'd have to get with Nelson and figure out what we need to.
$250.
Well, the ones I've seen are $300 to $500.
$300.
You know, I like it. But I think that's a question for Nelson to work on and answer for us, not something.
You had mentioned making the dump place once a quarter, which you're going to wind up having. Say you set it up for a week, that's going to turn into 2 to 3 weeks. I'm going from experience on city cleanup. We designate a certain period of time.
Right.
Me and my guys are picking up trash for an additional 2 to 3 weeks after that.
You guys won't be picking it up. It'll be just you bring it and it's gone.
Okay, well, it's wherever you make this spot, it's going to be sitting there for them to come back and dump
They'll
again.
have to come back and get it.
Yeah. It should be done during.
You're going to be paying for 2 or 3
Then
trips.
we're just paying simply for the rental for that week and then the tonnage that goes out. So, which I think you've got one of the best rental rates on anywhere.
I try really hard.
Yeah. You can't help the tonnage part because that's not
Well,
under
and
control.
and we would also do a reduced rate, you know, like we do with other stuff that we do.
But I think where that's going to offset is that when we have these closed off, that's going to offset that cost.
You're going to see a huge difference.
Like I said, you put cameras out.
For the gate side.
But you want that
How much in fences around them dump?
That's what I was thinking. Could you do a cyclone fence?
You can do a cyclone, but you can do a cyclone. You can, and what you're trying to do is kind of hide it. I mean, behind the CAC building, you got people walking and everything else. You want to hide these, and you're not talking a whole lot of money. You know, we try to buy local, but I shop around to find the best.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if I got to build that, I'm going to Arkansas and buying it. I ain't buying that lumber here.
Right, it's too high. They'll tell you that, and it's not that they don't want to do it. It's just they're in a situation they can't buy.
They can't, they can't do it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we needed to discuss this. Are you through?
That's it. Am I waiting? Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, we needed to discuss it, but I want to make sure you.
Yeah, I'm through, and but
And it's something I don't think we need to take action on. We just don't need to discuss it to know where we're going to go with it.
right.
And I think if all y'all in agreement, we'll go further with doing this idea that Derek's got here. which
So
I-
building the fence around.
You can only talk about 3.
And then if that don't work, we're gonna do camera.
I think you better put cameras out
You're
there.
gonna do-
If you're gonna do it right.
And we can talk to Reagan and see if he can do something for us, or we can purchase them ourselves, and I'll have you see if
I like them.
I got them deer cameras over here at the farmer's market, and it works wonders.
There's a camera behind the CAC, but I don't believe it's hooked up.
Yeah, that's all we need.
It takes a picture every time somebody walks up there to
It's like speed.
Yeah.
So I think we got it figured out.
All right. Well, we'll think some
Hang
more
on
on
a
it.
minute. Does a deer camera work in court? A picture from a deer camera, is it?
Yeah.
As long as it's, it's clearly visible to see who it is.
Sure.
License plates or cars.
Okay, the next item we were talking about, Derek brought up the fact that our city ordinances need to be more fine-tuned to include like drainage ditches, grass clippings in the road, and then we needed an ordinance about signage. And I had Nelson look at what we have in place as far as ordinances go, and he looked at what Derek has come up with as far as more specific things pertaining to those. And his suggestion is that we don't do a new ordinance, but we can amend the ones we have now, right?
We can.
Yeah, and what this is deriving from, and Mike and I talked this a while back when we were looking at some ditches, is the fact that these people just, it's not so much that they're burning it, they just let it flow down there.
When they clogs them up.
Plugging all the drainage systems.
Yes. And then it goes down and messes up all the underground stuff.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But now, if we alter that, I mean, if we change it, do we have to have that, we have to vote on that again?
Yeah, we have to do, we're gonna amend some of these ordinances, or, include subparagraphs or subparts or whatever. We have to do like we're doing the parking ordinance, so to introduce it, and then we have to
Okay.
wait a time period, like Sheila was talking about before
Yeah.
the next city council may vote on it.
Okay.
Nelson, let me ask you, you may know this off the top of your head, is there a Louisiana law that says that grass clippings, you're not supposed to put your grass clippings on the road?
I don't know, I have to look at
Okay,
that.
because I've looked and I can't find anything. And that's a
If
big
there is, it's widely violated.
Up in mine.
You got,
Well, no, we're talking about where it looks like the lawn is actually now on the road.
You're talking about for motorcycles.
Yeah.
It's real dangerous for motorcycles.
Hasn't said anything about
He
it.
has. And we looked it up for him at one time. I think we found something that you can't do.
I've never seen it come across in any prosecution, or whether it's an
It's
ordinance or whether it's a
Yeah.
misdemeanor or whatever, so I doubt it. I can't tell you, I don't know.
It would just be a fine, just a little.
It'd be a city ordinance
Yeah.
violation.
Honestly, you have to enforce it. It's just like the burn ordinance, you're not supposed to burn in the city limits, but I mean, this man over here's been burning the last 2 days right here on the corner.
But you got the enforcement part's gonna happen.
But you can't burn inside the city limits.
This fire said, my neighborhood every night. Yeah, I'm just sitting around the fire.
Well, not a fire pit.
There ain't no fire pit.
Got one on Hill Street.
It don't smell like fire.
Don't feel like fire.
Okay, well, we will get with Nelson, Derek and I'll get with Nelson and we'll get that fine-tuned a little better.
And the sign portion of this is that years ago, there was sign ordinances in Springhill. And if y'all drive around, look, people stick signs everywhere. Ray has told me that y'all pick them up.
Go pick 'em
And
up.
everything, and that shouldn't be, I mean, they nail them on the telephone pole 20 feet up just to keep somebody from stealing them. And, it's getting out of hand. And downtown, it is kind of getting like that too. And so we need to reintroduce a sign ordinance. And actually, Nelson, this one is modeled after Minden. You can probably find it very, very.
I sent those to him today.
And so that's a big thing, I think. And, after the hail this last time, you could probably take those and make new campaign signs out of them.
Yeah.
And, that's all I've got.
All right. The next item is the chief, but he's not here, but it'll be on the agenda Monday night. He wants to hire back Bobby Roden to train under William Frazier, who is retiring December 1st.
Oh.
He wants.
Thinking about that, though, and correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't there something that he had let go because of a certain reason?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
He's not here to answer, so I don't know. And then he said let Ted Robinson go, and also David Silva, some sort of pay increase he was going to ask about. I was hoping he'd be here to explain all this, but I talked to him yesterday. He didn't say it wasn't going to be. But that's all I had as far as the agenda Monday night. And yeah,
We probably
we'll work on that.
Do you know the dimensions on these?
No, that looks like it's 2 inches sections there. Really.
Still want to measure the cans, because each can.
Yeah, I want to make sure. What's the biggest can size? Do you know? Or if you were to get the biggest that you could get, if we were to ever get bigger ones. If I make it, I want to make it big enough for what the future.